Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about how shorts and banks need liquidity, another short seller taken down, how shorts are trying to change the rules, and many more in this video. First, we're taking a look at this. Well, when Citadel put them in a position where they can't dig themselves out, they have to, of course, do this. So what we're taking a look right now is an article saying Bank of America, second largest bank in the USA, reportedly entering a large-scale partnership with Ripple. So for those of you who aren't aware, Ripple is XRP, obviously a cryptocurrency, and what they want to do is obviously go into a partnership with them, adopting XRP, and then of course using their tokens. Now, the reason why I'm covering this, and this isn't to talk about XRP, this isn't to bash about XRP either, take it how you will with Ripple, with XRP, but it's to understand the situation that they are in right now. And it's how Robert M talks about here in terms of when Citadel put them in a position that they can't dig themselves out. So first, we have to understand that Bank of America is the prime lender of Citadel. We've talked about this in the past. We've seen and we know how Bank of America actually owns, or at least is in control of, over 70% of Citadel's assets. So that's how much risk exposure they obviously have. And now something that we've been covering recently is understanding how exposed Citadel is. We've talked about the fact that despite making billions of dollars, despite being profitable, they still have to sell bonds, they have to borrow money in order to pay their investors. So obviously what we can understand is that they are not in a good position. And so if Citadel isn't in a good position, then the money in which they're borrowing from, the other counterparty will also be in the bad position as well, aka Bank of America. So obviously a partnership with XRP would have its bullish effect on XRP, but again, like I said, the focus isn't on Ripple, but it's rather understanding the fact if a bank, which again from the very start was so against the use of cryptocurrency, didn't want to adopt any, want to make them own cryptocurrency, suddenly want to actually partner with another firm, with another cryptocurrency in a time when we're seeing the illiquidity issue happening right now, it really actually indicates what's going on right now. A big part with how and why they want to utilize a crypto is obviously because of the settlement issues that we've talked about recently, is because of the illiquidity issues that we've been always talking about. And so this is what we're looking at, and we can see from the fact is Bank of America doing this that obviously they are not in a good positions because of their counterparties, aka Citadel, and of course other risky firms that are out there. Another thing you can see, which is understanding this was on the 16th of Jan, but it's quite a good representation of just where we are right now, and it's understanding the fact that reverse repo is going down. And the reason why this is important, because we have just been talking about this whole liquidity issues. For those of you who don't understand, the reason why liquidity is so important, because it essentially correlates to how shorts are able to get money to manipulate AMC. A very simple way of understanding this is that the more liquidity they have, the more suppressed AMC will be. But the less liquidity there is, the bigger the difficulty it is for these shorts to obviously manipulate AMC. And that's how we'll see the true price reflection actually happen in AMC. And so when we take a look at this and we understand that the reverse repo is obviously going down, that there's an increase in liquidity, we can see how we're getting one step closer to obviously where we want to get. Now you can see on our AMC wall of shame, updated again, welcome Hindenburg Research and Nate Anderson. So this is what we're saying. Now, the reason why I think this is very important, I'm bringing this up right now, is firstly, we have another short seller, which was obviously involved with both AMC and GME, that are obviously taken out right now. And this is very important because it essentially lets us understand, truly how we are still in this. Truly the fact that this play isn't over and why we know that the shorts are still trapped in this play. Because when we first saw these short sellers who were shorting AMC that later on got taken out, and we didn't see any, you could argue that obviously the short squeeze is over, that they've covered their positions, when we know that's not the case. We have seen plenty of different other proofs that obviously show that. But the fact that we are seeing short firms actually being taken out is a whole different story, because what we can understand is that these positions are getting bigger. These positions are getting deadlier. Shorts are not able to handle it. And like we said, we always knew that the ones who really control AMC, the ones that we need to actually take out in order for AMC to squeeze, are obviously the ones that are up there, like Citadel, like banks that are obviously involved. And so, they are kind of the final boss, as you will, that we obviously need to get to. And, we're getting there one step at a time. But the fact that we are seeing short sellers actually starting to fail because of these swaps, because of these short positions, it definitely shows that what we've been talking about, what we've been doing is obviously and clearly working, to the fact that, we are still seeing the manipulation. And that is a show of how shorts are obviously worried, and that's why they need to do this. Now, another thing is to understand in terms of why they're worried, because hedge funds don't want any light shining on where they are short. The 5 trillion hedge fund industry is asking for changes to happen. So their rollbacks would add a 6-month delay on disclosure requirements, including those which will reveal to regulators more about what short bets funds have against stocks and their rate of change. Now, already you can see how ridiculous this is. But again, you can also see the desperation that's coming out from these hedge funds. We've had the CAT system, which is obviously supposed to bring transparency. We've talked about how firms that are, of course, shorting over a certain size will have to report on their short positions every single month. So what we have been seeing coming into 2025, and of course going into the future, is essentially more transparency. Now, clearly the shorts are worried. So why are they worried about transparency? Because surely transparency wouldn't do anything. You're just doing what you've been doing, but you're letting other people understand. That's the same thing with longs, but you're doing it with shorts. If there's nothing wrong with longs, what's going on with the shorts? Well, clearly we can understand that what they don't want to be, of course, transparent about is the stuff that isn't allowed. It's the manipulation, it's the suppression that would normally be deemed as illegal, unethical, and of course more, but because they don't disclose it, nobody knows, so nobody gets penalized. And because, like we talked about, the very fact that we've talked about the CAT system being implemented, we talked about how the monthly report of short positions, yet they want to do a 6-month delay on disclosure requirements. A lot can happen in 6 months. They can, of course, alter the data, and we've seen in the past before about how they've short positions at the very start, and then before they have to report it, they obviously reset this position, and then it resets the timer. Therefore, they don't have to report these positions, or of course other factors. And so that's what we've seen in the past. That's how they've gotten away, and then it will look like on paper that obviously no shorts were taken, and if a price of a stock were to go down, we didn't see any shorts, we automatically assume that is because of people selling, when that isn't the case. And so of course a lot can happen in 6 months, and the very fact that the shorts are worried, especially when they're seeing more transparency rules being implemented and they want less transparency, it shows a lot about what they're obviously about, and it shows about kind of the efforts and antiques that they're up to in order to manipulate and suppress and obviously take advantage of the retail investors. Another thing you can look at, Fintel institutional ownership of AMC. Add up all shares bigger than 10K, shares reported 200 million, AMC float 350 million. Therefore, institutions own 57.3%, which is more institutional ownership than retail's, coming at 42.7%. Now, straight away, you can understand that this is something that shouldn't be possible. Something that we've known is that the retailers always own the majority of the AMC float. We've seen this on different brokers as well, whether it's Robinhood, whether it's Webull, Yahoo, or any others. But yet on this, what we're seeing is how they, of course, showing institutions own more. Now, that's not the case, but it isn't surprising when you consider the fact that we've seen how brokers, how banks, how institutions have marked shorts as longs. So if they were to mark, their short positions as long positions, then you can see how suddenly institutions will have a lot more ownership than they would. because realistically they could be owning 10%, but we've seen how they've shorted over 40%, 50%, and again more times than actually the float should have been. And so if that was being marked as long positions and counted as ownership, then it would let us understand why institutions own so much when clearly that shouldn't be the case. And guys, thanks for watching this video. I'll catch you guys next time.